There, Pucker Nation. This is Uncle Pucker Chris here. Going to talk a little bit about the upcoming game tonight. Devils versus the Ottawa Senators. First game of the year against the Sens up in Ottawa. Really looking forward to this one. This should be a really good game. Coming off a overtime win last night against the Blue Jackets, or Wednesday night rather, against the Blue Jackets on the back of Timo Meyer and Luke Hughes. And man, wasn't that Luke Hughes' coast to coast goal one of the prettiest things you're ever going to see, man? I absolutely loved it. A lot of good things and interesting and exciting things kind of happening right now with the Devils. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. We'll keep it nice and short. A little quick power play episode. My New Year's resolution is to try and do one of these before every game for the remainder of the season. I've done a few and then just don't seem to find the time, but I'm going to make sure as my New Year's resolution that I finish off strong the rest of this year and try and do one of these for every game. Last year, we played Ottawa 3 times, swept them. All right, game 14, 4-3 overtime win. And remember that game, Vitek got banged up. He had to leave the game. Akira Schmidt comes in, stood on his head off the bench, takes this team into overtime. We get the big win. Game 18, just a few days afterwards, we beat them 5-1. And then game 73, a 5-3 Devil victory. But this is not last year's Ottawa Senators, and it most certainly is not last year's New Jersey Devils. So this year, Ottawa's been struggling. They are one of those teams going into the season rather, that a lot of people had pegged at a playoff team. It was them, it was Buffalo, it was Detroit. Those were the three that were really going to make a push, or so everybody thought. Ottawa had a really crazy schedule early on. They've only played like 27, 28 games or something. They're teams that have 5, 6 games in hand on them. They had the crazy schedule. They were up and down, mostly down this year. Their coach gets fired in DJ Smith, and in comes Jacques Martin, who was the coach during the Ottawa Senators' heyday, between their golden days, the late 90s and early 2000s. He was the head coach. This team's been playing a little bit better. They did get that coach bump that seems to happen. But let's talk a little bit about Ottawa, right? They're 13, 17, and 0. Crazy. They haven't had every game went to regulation. I thought that was strange. Out of, all the games so far, none of them have gone to overtime. But anyway, they have 26 points. They are 8th in the Atlantic Division. They are 4 games under 500. So they're struggling, most likely not going to make the playoffs. If they are going to make the playoffs, it's going to have to be a big push, and it has to start now. So let's hope that, that doesn't happen for our sake. But I am extremely nervous about this game. They are 19th in the league, goals for with 104. They are 13th in the league with goals against with 105. Their last game was actually, so they've played 31 games. So this will be their 32nd. Their last game was a 4-2 win at Toronto. And then before that, against the Penguins, they won a 5-4 overtime win. And then before that, though, they were losers of 6 straight. So they're 2-6 in their last 8 games. Like I said, they fired DJ Smith, Jacques Martin's in. They have a lot of good players on this team, though. Tim Stützle at 33 points this year. Vladimir Tarasenko, 22. Kachuk, 25. Batherson, 28. They've got some firepower. They seem to be a very undisciplined team. The little bit that I have watched Ottawa this year, extremely undisciplined. They take stupid penalties. They play with a lot more heart than they do head sometimes, if that makes sense. They went out last summer. They made the big move. They got Jonas Corposalo in. They really hoped that would help stop any of these problems that they were having in goal. He has not been very good. He's at a 7-11 record for an 894 save percentage, and the backup Anton Forsberg is 6-6 with an 877 save percentage. So that's where Ottawa is. Okay, they're a big team. They're a physical team. They like to get in your face. Oh, Rey Mysterio fell. They like to get in your face. They like to cause problems, get under your skin. They're extremely pesky, and the Devils don't seem to do very well when they're playing teams like that. As far as us, we're 18, 13, and 2. 38 points, sixth in the Metro, only 4 points out of basically the second seed. So it's all right there for the Devils for the taking. They have 113 goals for. That's ninth in the NHL. Scoring goals is not our problem. Oh, wait, here's the problem 118 goals against. That's 26th in the NHL. That is not good. And if this team is going to make a run and make the playoffs, then that has got to change. That number needs to start, going north here because not very good. We all know where Devils were last two games, right? 4-3 win last night over Columbus. And then before that, before the holiday break, the 3-2 win over the Detroit Red Wings. Then we lost three before that. So we're 2-3 in our last five. But the big conversation for tomorrow, the thing for Devil fans to be extremely excited for, possibly even slightly nervous, is the recall of Nico Dawes. Now, 2 years ago, the 21-22 season, Nico Dawes is our seventh goaltender. We went through everybody. So many problems in net. Blackwood, Bernier. I think Schmid played a few games. Guys were up and down, and nobody stuck. But nobody played longer than this 21-year-old kid who came up from Utica, named Nico Dawes, who just played. I don't want to say good because he wasn't on a good team. So it's really hard to say. He played admirably, man. He got out there and he battled. He battled every single night on a really bad Devils team. Go back and think about that team 2 years ago. They were bad. They were young and stupid, and they didn't have a ton of great players on it. And now you look at this roster and you look at Nico Dawes. That's 2 years of growth, 2 years of development. And coming to this team, albeit the New Jersey Devils, the same team he played for 2 years ago, but a completely different look of this team. So Nico Dawes gets called up. Akira Schmid gets sent back down to Utica. I think that's the right move. Schmid is struggling this year. Extremely rough season for him. He's the future, and the Devils have a lot of faith in him going into the next few years, but we can't ruin him. And if we kept him up this year, and maybe he'll be back, I don't know, but I do think that could be a recipe for disaster if he can't figure it out. He needs a few games to go down to Utica and try and figure it out. And that leads us to, okay, Nico Dawes. Big injury last year. I believe it was even over the summer. And he just got back cleared and playing in Utica. He's played 3 games in Utica so far. He went 1-2, 2.39 goals against, and a .929 save percentage in those 3 games. He's played well. Now, he says that he feels great. He says he feels better than he's ever felt. In an interview yesterday, he actually said he does things now that he couldn't do pre-injury, pre-surgery, pre-rehab. So this is where Nico Dawes is. Now, listen, every Devil fan in the state of New Jersey or around the country has been saying you have to do something about goaltending. Yeah, look, we want, if it's not going to be if it is, or let me say, if it is going to be a John Gibson or a Jake Allen or a Jacob Markstrom, those are the 3 names that I think are probably up on the trade market or will be very shortly. And you have 3 goaltenders that about 5 or 6 teams are really going to try and go after. So whoever lands these guys, Gibson and Allen and Markstrom, they're going to overpay. And that's the last thing that we want to see this team do, right? Like, the team's been growing. Most of these guys are homegrown. There are dudes. And it's going to suck if we have to give away a Dawson Mercer or an Alexander Holtz for maybe a John Gibson. I'd like to see maybe a defenseman here or there, but let's not, just as far as the goaltenders go. And that still might have to happen, right? We still might have to go out and get a goaltender, but until you actually deplete every resource that you have within your team, your infrastructure, you have to check and see, look, is Nico Dawes an option? Is he a competent option? I mean, if he can come in and play just middle of the road, right? Just middle of the pack hockey. This team can do very well around him. And then maybe Vitek Vanacek can start. He's been playing better. And maybe if he knows, okay, I have a solid guy sitting behind me, that I don't have to put it all on my shoulders. I don't have to be that dude to go out there and stand on my head every single night because my teammate, my partner is capable. He's 6'4", Nico Dawes. He's 203 pounds. He's 23 years old. If this kid works out and he is, going to stay up here for the remainder of the season, well, look, man, then we have something really special for a very long time. So that's something to be very excited about. The thing to not so excited about is the fact that playing teams like the Ottawa Senators gives the New Jersey Devils fits. They know how to get under our skin, and we fall for it every time. And we take stupid penalties, and we get off our game. And it is just this, vicious cycle of shit that happens when you play the teams like the Florida Panthers, the Carolina Hurricanes, the New York Rangers, Ottawa Senators. This is what they do. The Devils have to go into Ottawa, where they play very well outside of their of New Jersey. So anytime away from the building seems to do this team very good. So they're going to go into 2 tough games coming up back to back. But you can't worry about Boston until this one's over. And we'll do our preview on Saturday for that game. But my point being is this: go into Ottawa and make the Senators play the Devils game. Don't fall into their trap. Don't fall into the bullshit trying to retaliate. Hold your own. Yes. Stand up for yourself. Yes. Don't get into penalty trouble. Don't do stupid things. If this team goes in, makes Ottawa play their style, that speed style, you know what? Come keep up. You want to hit us? Come keep up with us and do that. And if they can play their type of game, and there are so many guys on this team that just seem to be like that far away from just popping it open and going on runs. Dawson Mercer is one of them. Andre Palat is another. And then, who's been kind of quiet lately? The Jesper Bratts, the Jack Hughes, the Nico Heishers. Other than Bratt, you don't expect any of those guys to go quiet, at least for any kind of, significant time. So they have been a little bit quiet. Let's get it all rolling. We've all been screaming, Timo Meyer's got to do more. Timo Meyer's got to do more. Well, meanwhile, Jack and Jesper and Nico were carrying the play while Timo Meyer wasn't doing well. And now Timo Meyer's come kind of getting back to that Timo Meyer form. He's crashing the net, looking for dirty goals, doing all the right things, everything that you want from from Timo Meyer. Now to get everybody else on board. And it'll happen because those guys, they don't stay cool for long. So they'll start heating up. And when that happens, I do think we're going to have some really, really good, fun hockey to get behind in New Jersey when everything starts clicking, because it just seems like they're right there, right? But this is also a game where it can just start snowballing backwards, right? We don't want to do the 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Go into Ottawa, make this 3 in a row. Worry about Boston later. Damn good team. Going up to Boston. To beat them, you're going to have to play a hell of a game. But don't overlook the Ottawa Senators, because to beat them, you're going to have to play a hell of a game. The Devils have to also realize that they're not at that elite status yet. They're not at that top tier. They're in that second tier. They're comfortably there, but they're not. Last year, it was first tier all the way. This year, they have some work to do, but I think if they figure it out and if they make a few moves and these pieces that come, whether it be defensemen, well, hopefully not goaltending, but maybe if that's the case, once this all starts to click, I think we will have a very good top tier team. But it's got to start now. We can't go too much longer out of a playoff spot. Otherwise, the only good thing is that there's nobody taking that second and third spot. There's nobody just saying, we're going there, we're taking this spot, and you're not getting us out, because these points are just so tight and everything's fluctuating. And, a team goes and, loses 2 games and they're right above the Columbus Blue Jackets. You win 2 and you're right underneath the New York Rangers. So it's crazy at this division right now. But that's a conversation for another time. That's the keys. Ottawa Senator game. Look forward to Nico Dawes in goal. This should be extremely exciting, and fingers crossed that this kid can come in and do the job. I honestly have faith in him. I loved what I saw of Nico Dawes 2 years ago, and super excited to see how he does now. 2 years in, much more comfortable, just, a better athlete, a better player right now, and along with the team that's with him. Guys on defense, help this kid out, okay? don't leave him out to dry like we've been doing so many times to the other two guys. Help him out. All right. Nico Dawes could be the real deal. I really hope he is. We're going to be on, the Uncle Puckers will be on after this game on Friday night tonight, and we're going to talk in depth about that. And we will also be on Saturday directly after the Boston Bruin game. There will be a Devil Key to the Game on Saturday for the Bruin game. And once again, like always, these Power Play episodes are brought to you by Used to Be's Island Eatery at 287 Route 35 in Manahawkin. That's here in New Jersey. Wonderful food, great live entertainment, big bar, tons of TVs. Look, man, it's right on the water, but this place is packed all the time. Just because it's wintertime doesn't mean that you can't go on the island and enjoy a few drinks, a little bit of good food, margarita pizza, best I have ever had. So check them out. Used to be his Island Eatery. They have bar bingo, they have live music, they have trivia, they have daily lunch and dinner specials. You can go to usedtobesnj.com to get a list and calendar of all of their events and weekly specials. That's going to do it for us, guys. Make sure you check out the Uncle Puckers wherever you get podcasts. A subscription, download, 5-star review, positive comment really goes a long way in helping us promote this show and get to interact with awesome Devil fans throughout the entire state. Since this time that we've been doing this show, it has been a ton of fun, and the people that we've met have just been fantastic. And I hope that we can still keep on putting out good content for you. Give us a like, give us a subscription. We appreciate you guys. Snoop Dogg appreciates you. We'll see you after the Ottawa Senator game. Peace.